In recent NFL news, wide receiver Tate is appealing a suspension by claiming the medication he was taking was for infertility treatments. Welcome back, everybody. For those new, my name's Brian, and I'm a doctor and a sports fan, and it's my goal here to explain different sports injuries and sports medicine topics in a way that you can better learn from and understand. While it may seem crazy to think of an infertility medication as also being a performance-enhancing drug, this is definitely not the first time that this topic has come up in professional sports. What I'm gonna do in this video is teach you about why these medications have a lot of overlap and why infertility medications are on the banned substance list. We're gonna focus specifically on one called Clomid or Clomiphene because it's one of the more popular ones that we read about in these circumstances. Be sure and go subscribe if you like this type of content and want to stay up to date with future videos, and let's get started. Most recently, we saw Robert Mathis get suspended for using Clomiphene, and he was saying that he was taking it for infertility treatments. We've seen this medication pop up a number of times before, also with Jon Jones in the UFC, testing positive for this substance. We don't know specifically what Tate was taking, but he said that it was for infertility treatments, and it wouldn't be unexpected if this was one of those medications just because of how commonly used it is. But nonetheless, let's talk about this whole pathway and why these infertility medications are banned from sports. To break it down really simple to start off, we think of trying to boost testosterone as being the way that most people will take performance-enhancing drugs. In the old days, this was more commonly just injecting kind of testosterone analogs or drugs that were directly trying to boost production of testosterone. But there's a lot of other ways that you can manipulate the hormones in your body to stimulate testosterone production, and this is what Clomiphene is doing. To start off with a little physiology lesson here, let's review the hormone pathway that causes testosterone to be produced in the body. We start up in the brain with the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus has a number of functions, including temperature regulation, and importantly to this discussion, stimulation of different hormone productions. The hypothalamus sends signals down to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland then secretes hormones that stimulate other glands in the body. The specific chemical that signals this process from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland is called GnRH, or gonadotropin-releasing hormone. This triggers the pituitary gland to release two specific hormones called FSH and LH, or follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. These two hormones then travel through the body to stimulate the testicles to produce testosterone and the necessary factors for sperm production. One particular group of cells in the testicles is called Leydig cells, and LH stimulates these cells to produce testosterone. Some of that testosterone then goes on to form estrogen. Now, you don't want to produce too much of these substances, and so it's all intricately produced through a feedback mechanism. If your body has produced enough testosterone and estrogen, then particularly this estrogen is going to feed back into the hypothalamus in the brain, telling the body to slow down production. When that estrogen level drops, then that production kicks back up to keep this whole cycle going. Clomiphene belongs to a group of medications called Selective Estrogen Receptor Modulators, or SERMs for short. What Clomiphene is doing is it's blocking the action of estrogen up here in the hypothalamus in the brain. By blocking these receptors in the hypothalamus, the body thinks that it needs to produce more of these chemicals to stimulate testosterone and estrogen production. So even though you're producing all this estrogen and testosterone, the body doesn't think that it's there, and so it activates this whole pathway. By doing this, your body then produces more FSH and LH, which then goes downstream to produce more testosterone. So that's why these types of medications are on the banned substance list. They act indirectly to increase testosterone production in the body. Most of the times when a couple is having trouble conceiving a child, the female is the one taking Clomid to try to stimulate ovulation in the ovaries. Sometimes though, it's a male problem for why there's infertility, and there could be low sperm counts. Part of this whole pathway we talked about earlier is stimulating sperm production, and so sometimes males will take Clomid with the thought that it's trying to boost your sperm production. There are a lot of other medications in this hormone pathway that can be used for infertility that are also on this banned substance list. And it's because all of them are having some indirect or direct effect on that pathway we previously discussed at trying to either increase testosterone production or decrease estrogen. What we've seen lately with some of these players is that they're trying to appeal their suspension, saying they didn't know or saying they were taking these medications for infertility. While that may certainly be true, these players are responsible for everything they're putting in their body, and a really simple Google search would alert someone that these substances are on the banned list. In a future video, we'll get into this question of, is this a reasonable excuse? Do I think these players should still be banned for taking these substances, or what's really going on with the politics of this? But for now, I just wanted you to try to understand this pathway of how testosterone production occurs in the body and how some of these infertility medications, particularly Clomiphene, are trying to stimulate testosterone and why they're on the banned list. Thanks as always for watching, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.